Hi, everybody.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with
Oberon.
and me, Banshee. Welcome to this special programming event. So if you're not here for a past life reading, that's what we're doing tonight. It's past life pop-up night.
That's right. And of course, this is a popular pop-up that we've done before, but because of the spirit of Halloween, the kind of, spooky, speculative kind of things, we've decided to do it again.
Oh my God, Gina.
Who was I 10,000 years ago?
10,000 years ago. A dinosaur? No.
No. Shauna the She-Devil.
Shauna the She-Devil. Yikes. I meant to bring something over.
That's not totally true. Gina.
Good one, Gina, and thank you for sending out that or telling Stacy about the live stream. Appreciate you promoting us tonight.
Oh dear, my hair.
What's wrong with your hair, Mr. O?
It's sticking up in funny places.
I thought I'd do a really quick card for the collective from the Ancestor Speaks because it's kind of past lifey in its own way. So I'm just going to shuffle a couple times and let Mr. O.
Well, we kind of knew it was a gamble because, here in the States it's Friday night, and so a lot of people usually are not watching any sort of TV, let alone YouTube TV on Friday night. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Well, and it's a strange week because Mr. O has to work tomorrow, too. And we have happy hour.
I don't know what that really has to do with it.
Well, we have happy hour and we have yet another pop-up that we're doing. So...
Hi, Stacy.
Stacy made it! Yay!
You should stick around because there's literally nobody here tonight, so you could be handled easily. Oh, I don't know which one I want, dear.
Grab one, don't peeky. What you got? Ooh.
Focus on children.
Wow. All right, so this is just for the collective quickly from the Ancestor Speaks Oracle. Thought it would get us in the mood. If you already have children or grandchildren, this card is a reminder for you to connect with them and spend more time with your family. And if not, just recognize that children are a blessing. They really do heal people and bring family members together in a positive way. Look at the children in your life and be thankful for the amazing gift they are to you. If you have children who have passed away, this card confirms that they are safe, happy, and still around you. They love you very much. Babies, pregnancy, and children are being highlighted for you when this card appears. You may have been considering conceiving, fostering, or adopting a child. It gives you a head up to let you know that there is a child who wants to come to you and your family. This child doesn't have to be your biological child. It could be a niece, nephew, adopted child, stepchild, or foster child. And I wonder if this doesn't mean that maybe for some of us tonight, one of these past lives they might have been a child in.
Maybe they were one of our children in a past life.
If you lived a past life, you were a child once upon a time.
Yeah, but maybe you were our child in a past life. All of you.
I
Stacy,
feel for
Jenna.
you. If that's true, I feel for you. All right. Well, we're going to get this show on the road because this is a bit of a reading that we do for everybody. That's why we say it's first come, first serve. We may not be able to get everybody in. So let's see what we've got here. We do have a Sal. And then we have Gina. And then we have Stacy.
Who may be only here to say hi.
Who?
That's what she said.
Oh, Gina?
Stacy.
Oh, Stacy. Oh. Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes.
These were already mentioned.
All right. So, Asal, we're going to head off with you first. And what we do with this reading is we pull cards from these different parts of this remembering or awakening, I should say. It's Awakening Far Memory deck. And basically, there's a stack of cards for the culture you lived in, the environment, the occupation, the theme, and how you died. Now, if it's too traumatic to hear how you died, you can let us know. But we're going to pull those, and then we'll give you the option of taking two of those particular cards.
It is awesome.
Two of those particular cards, and we will throw some tarot for them to give you a little bit more information on those areas of your past life. All right? Let's roll with the cell. So let's start with, okay, Asal, we're going to start with the culture you lived in. And I will let you do the diamond one, Mr. O. But let's pull a culture. India.
India, Southeast Asia. So this means that one of your past lives, Asal, was in India, Southeast Asia. All right.
All right, now we're going to look at the environment. A city.
And it was a city. It could have been, a big city, a small city. It could have been a city unlike anything that we know in the West, or perhaps even in other parts of the world in other times. But it was considered a city, a habitat where a number of people lived, usually a larger amount.
Right. I'm already getting a feeling about something here, but I'm going to withhold.
Oh, look. Thank you, Mr. Maurice. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you very much.
Mr. Maurice, thank you so much.
Who's your monster, baby?
That's coming tomorrow.
All right. And this is the kind of profession you might have been?
Yes.
Right. So, Asel, you probably worked in government in this city. You were in some sort of ruling or a body of authority.
So, the theme of this life.
So the theme of your life.
Stability, instability.
So we'll get to that in a minute, but that basically suggests there were some possible extreme issues.
All right.
And then finally, how did you end that life? Water.
Wow.
Which, of course, could imply a lot of different ways. But the usual, high fiber magic.
Fiber magic. Welcome.
We're
Welcome
doing
to the
past
show.
lives.
We're doing
Thank you for
past
joining
lives
us.
tonight. All right. Well, this is interesting. You know, Mr. O, I do think we should do one thing.
What's that?
Well, I'm just going to shuffle quick, and I'm going to pull out a court card to see what age we're talking about here, or, possible gender.
Oh, okay, right.
And then we will give them the chance. Let me just go for the first court card we find, which is, I think, the way to do it. Of course. Yes, okay. So we have the Page of Cups. You were relatively well, even if you were youthful, I feel it's kind of interesting because I look at the pages as sometimes genderless, but I'm going to go with male here. The image is very male on this one, and
Sure.
I'm going to go with that because I really do feel that way about what we've pulled so far for you, Asel. And I feel that you were in India, and I really think this is more modern era than not in the city there, the city that they are showing.
So it wasn't antiquity. It may have been in the last couple hundred years, possibly?
Possibly.
Okay.
And you did work for government. The instability, the stability may have been some, I feel that this might have to, this could mean a lot of things. This could be stability, instability in your finances or your life, or this could mean in your job. Maybe there was turmoil, and
It was a time of maybe political or national
unrest.
upheaval or unrest,
Right, that you were a participant in. And I don't know whether it was because of some sort of monsoon rains or if there was some kind of major flooding event or you drowned at sea. But it seems as though water had something to do with your demise. So
Hi,
what we can do for you, Estelle, is we can throw 2 cards for 2 of these cards. Either your culture, environment, occupation, theme, or termination. It's your choice.
Now, I do feel that because we do believe that some of the southwestern countries, that hemisphere, India, Indonesia, are subject to large monsoons and rain things. So it is likely that maybe this was an event that occurred and may have taken the life you had at that time.
The other thing is if this was by a coastal, if it was on the coast, it could be, a seafaring disaster as well.
So, Estella, I'm wondering if you're still with us, and if you are, if you need an illumination on any of this here. If not, we might just choose for you.
Yeah. We are fine, Jenna. Just looking at the chat. Yeah, you are on the list. Oh, I think you are. Whoops. Yes, you are.
Number 4, right?
Actually, number 3, according to what I see.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Maurice didn't stay, did he?
Well, he didn't actually say anything in the chat. He just gave us that
Right.
donation, so he just may be lurking back there.
Yep. All right, maybe a soul was not interested in the past life, didn't know we were doing past lives, possibly?
Technically, Stacy came before Jenna in the stars.
Oh, I put it wrong. And I meant to do it that way, yep. And I had it written down already. What am I thinking? I had it right there. I'm second guessing myself.
Come on, let's move on. Okay, so Estelle, you may not be here anymore.
Mr. Maurice is here.
Thanks
All
for
right.
your donation, and we're doing our past life, so we'd love to do your past life too.
All right, let's roll. Well, if Estelle is not here and wants no more information, I say we move on.
We move on.
But I do feel that this was an interesting life.
And we wonder if that resonates to you.
Oh, you have that deck, Stacy? The Awakening?
Yeah, she mentioned that. Mm-hmm.
The Ancestor Spirit? I love that deck. I really love that deck.
So that means that Gina is next, right?
Gina, you are up.
Gina wants to know about 10,000 years ago.
Well, let's see what we get. I'll be curious to see what we get.
I can tell you one thing. It was real rock and roll.
You are silly.
Yes, we will, Mr. Maurice.
We will, Mr. Maurice. Thank you.
Okay, so Gina, we're going to do your life. I guess I should hold them first for you this time. Alrighty. So this is the general area, right?
The culture.
The culture. Okay.
Oh, that one wanted to come to me.
Oh.
It's
Gina.
it's not really 10,000 years ago, is it?
No, unless they had one too. It's thanks.
It
Gina.
was a dark age 10,000 years ago.
Hi, Patton.
Hey, Patton.
Oh, thank you, Stacy. I like hearing that. So this is a past life that you had maybe in the Dark Ages. So that suggests, more than 500 years ago, 500 to 900 or so, 1,000 years ago. It does not necessarily mean that it was in Europe where we normally associate the idea of the Dark Ages. It could have been somewhere else in the world.
What the heck? What about the environment?
Oh, another city.
Or what constituted a city back then, which may be completely different from what we think
Would you
today.
give us a moment for Patton?
A moment?
Go ahead, Patton.
Oh, no, Patton. Oh, no. That's unfortunate.
I'm not seeing it yet.
So sorry. One of his family members has COVID.
I'm very sorry. Oh, man. I'm so sorry.
We will keep them in your thoughts. I hope they're not elderly. Are they at least healthy? Maybe they'll be able to just get through this. We wish you the best.
We'll ask everybody we know to send some energy for Patton.
Yeah.
We're so sorry about that. I hope they heal well.
Oh, this virus.
Okay, so this is the kind of occupation or vocation?
Correct.
Yeah. So, religious.
Gina.
So, Gina, you were involved somewhere in a religious type of establishment or meme, you know. Maybe you were a secular person that worked with religion or something, you know, more intrinsic to that.
Fingers crossed for them, Patton. You know, they gotta, you know, they're in better shape than many who get this disease, so we'll keep them in our thoughts. Hopefully they don't have any risk
Later tonight, I will
factors.
absolutely light a candle. I promise you. And this is
the theme.
the theme was related to freedom and servitude. And so that's kind of interesting because the Dark Ages, religious background, freedom, servitude.
Oh, you're having a bad feeling about this, I think.
I think we burned you at the stake, Gina. I'm wondering.
Well, I don't know. Let's see what we get here. It's on you, Mr. O.
No.
How did Gina pass?
Yeah, that's what they all say. It was an accident.
Well, you know, it's very interesting because I get the feeling that I want to shuffle and look for a court card while I chat it up here a little bit. I get the feeling right now looking at this, Gina, that you were involved in some religion that, well, when it was in the Dark Ages, I feel that there was, you know, some issues. You were in the city. You might have been leading, I feel it might have been some type of cult. I don't know that it was witchcraft per se.
I know, I was mostly teasing there. But
But-
you know, there were lots of, during the Dark Ages, heresies that the various churches tried to institute, saying, if you believe this, that's a heresy. It wasn't necessarily just witchcraft. It
That's
was just
true.
because somebody said, we kneel before we do this, or, you know, one of those kind of things.
The reason I'm thinking it might have been cult-like is, I don't know why, but when I see that thing about freedom and servitude, I almost get the feeling that maybe, you know, people were kind of drawn in and kind of, you know what I mean?
Do I
I'm not-
cut?
I'm not going to, well, just go look for, you know, you don't have to cut for this. Oh, look at that. Gina, you were a queen.
Mother Superior.
You were okay. You were very, very, you know, you pulled on people's emotions, which again, I really feel there might have been a cult-like status to you in some way, where people would literally give you the shirt off their back and do anything for you, which may have caused some grief, but, you know, I could look at this two ways here. I could look at this as possibly you were imprisoned for what your beliefs were, and that maybe you had to do hard labor and you had an accident.
Right. It does sort of feel like this was sort of a life where maybe religious issues could matter in general society.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask you if you want to have illumination on
Yeah,
these.
would you like either the culture, environment, occupation, theme, or termination
True fiber.
illuminated on, and we'll draw 2 tarot cards for 2 of those.
So that was the time period, the general theme,
The culture,
the
the environment, the occupation, the theme, or the termination. This here.
And yeah, I feel that the Queen of Cups suggests that you probably were female and that maybe you had a position in some sense of religious authority, or that you were a person who was considered an advocate for the people. This alone could possibly put you in trouble with some authorities.
Well, I feel too that
Enviro.
that it's possible either you were a partner of a priest as well.
That could be.
Is possible. Or you were, you were part of a family that was involved in this.
She has the list. Okay, so you want the Enviro?
Okay.
That's the second one, right?
Yep.
And I just shuffle and pull
Yep.
one?
Pull one from the top and one from the bottom.
All right. Will do. Okay, so I read them the way they come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have the Four of Cups reversed, and I have the Five of Swords upright.
Okay.
This was a harsh environment in some sense, and this was probably the kind of environment where people were forced to make certain choices, or where you were just more or less felt like you had to make the best of your life, and so there were things offered to you, but it was always really about choosing what was best, not just for yourself perhaps, but perhaps for others too. Five of Swords implies involvement maybe with a group of people, and maybe this is the hostility thing that I'm feeling from the religious angle or the religious persecution angle.
Well, it's funny because that environment was the Dark Ages, and I get the feeling that you were on the move a lot. The Four of Cups is like reawakening to opportunities. I feel you were always moving, and why? Because there was conflict. There was a lot of conflict. And so it's possible you moved around. Maybe you were moving around trying to convert people or get people to follow.
Well, a whole groups of people who fell under the being accused of a heresy would sometimes be forced to move cities or countries. We know this happened with Jews throughout that period, or maybe a little bit more into the Renaissance, where they were literally forced to move away from a country because people didn't want Jews living there. That was a heresy to them. So it could be something like that too, where just basically life was always about being prepared for the challenges against what you believed.
This sounds like this life was a struggle for you. I don't think this was an easy life.
Right.
I feel that religion was important, and you were very, very sensitive. I think there was a sensitivity about you with that Queen of Cups, and kind of a way you drew people in with that emotionality and sensitivity of yours.
I once played Nero in a silly play about 40 years ago, and one of my lines was when somebody said that maybe they could arrange, for somebody to not be around, I said, another accident? So I'm just saying, who knows, right?
Yeah. So it was definitely an accident. So, if you're a little clumsy in this life, no, maybe it stems from this previous one.
So that's what we have for you, Gina. I hope that you enjoyed that.
Moving on to Stacy.
All right.
Let's see what we have.
And Pat, did you have a question about the list? Normally, it's a short list tonight.
Let me go through the list. Okay, so we're on Stacy. And then there is Jenna, Fiber Magic, Jadzia. I didn't know where Mr. Maurice came in, so I put him after Jadzia.
He was after Jadzia.
And Patton, you're after that.
Okay, Stacy. Excellent.
All right. Are you ready to pick the culture?
The culture. Central America.
I like.
Central America. Very nice. Warm.
There's yours.
All right. Perhaps, Patton, we never can tell you for sure. We'll be honest about that.
Wow. Hey, Central America, you work the fields.
Right. So possibly an agricultural-based life.
Or that's where you lived.
Oh, and again, we have a life that has strong religious
things.
vocational sensibilities about it. So you may have been a very religious person, even if you weren't in a religious institution as a vocation. But that could be that, right? That's what
That could
is seeing
be.
that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says it's occupation. So it looks like you had some role there, but what could it be? It doesn't necessarily have to be a priest per se.
Right.
Again, stability and instability. Well, with working the fields or living out in,
Thank you, Patton.
away from cities, or a lot of people could be that way, that there's a lot of stability, instability in, whether you had enough to eat, etc. Let's see this one, though. Oh, is it on you? No, it was supposed to be on me.
Yeah, so
I get to pick your demise.
How did you buy it? How did you kick the bucket? Oh dear, a catastrophe.
That could leave a lot to,
So it could be almost anything. Earthquakes, it could just be fires, it just could be a lot of things that, are a possibility to have, maybe a structure collapsed and crushed somebody, things like that.
This time, I think we want to let's pick the person you are, and then let's look at what you want more information on before we go into more detail.
Okay.
I think this time.
So this will give us some possible idea on maybe your gender or overall kind of situation.
We do these past life readings a couple of different ways, and this is one of the first ways we did it. Oh, look at that.
It fell out.
That was the first card.
Okay, so the Knight of Cups.
Yes.
So you possibly were male. You possibly were somebody who was a very emotional, loving sort. I don't think you're overly emotional, but you're just somebody that really feels warmth and gives warmth to people. Maybe you were well loved or enamored by others in your community.
Yeah. So before we go into going into detail on the thing, is there anything you would like the culture, environment, occupation, theme, or termination that you would want illuminated? With 2 tarot cards drawn?
I love that. Plague from the colonizers. Damn, they do it every time.
I think there is a plague card or there's an illness card.
There is, yeah.
So I think this is more of a natural catastrophe of some sort. And it's not fire necessarily, because there is a card for that too. So what do you think? Do you want to know more about your demise? Do you want to know more about, your occupation?
In the meantime, I will give us
whatever we're feeling.
Sunny Cam. Here's our little sun man on the set with us as usual.
Well, I'm going to let Mr. O do one, and I'm going to do one. I want to know more about the stability and instability. Oh, my God.
What happened?
Okay, I was doing this stability and instability to see what was up with that. What's the first card I pull?
The Tower.
Doesn't it look like that card a little bit? The stability instability one?
Oh, yeah, in a way, right. What did I say about something collapsing? And then what is that?
The Magician.
The Magician.
First.
Ooh.
Well.
So this was for this?
Yes. So let's keep that there. And I want you to pick one that you want to illuminate.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I get to pick one? Okay. Well, I am a Scorpio, so I want to know more about your end, Stacy. Because it's the Scorpio kind of thing to do, Morbid.
So what I'm gathering, well, I'll wait till he's done. I want to see what he gets for the end, but I have some definite thoughts here.
Okay, so I'm going to do top and bottom.
It's really interesting she got that card, and then she has the Magician
So
reversed.
to illuminate the ending, we have the High Priestess. I'm going to say maybe you knew it was your time, or there was a wisdom about this. And then I also have the Seven of Swords reversed.
Oh. Well, okay. Let's do that. Let's go through this now, because I think I'm ready. The first card. Okay, so you were definitely in some Central American country. You know, you might want to meditate on this and see what resonates for you. But there was definitely some field work. You were either a laborer. I have a feeling, well, you did, or you lived in the fields. You lived in the fields because actually your occupation was religious. You took care of this small community of farmers or rural people.
So you could have been sort of a magical religio priest or priestess
Shaman.
who encouraged plants to grow or came to give blessings to people's livestock or something like that.
And clearly, because that's the religious component here, and I feel maybe back in that day it was more medicinal or religious. I think this dates back a ways. I feel it. I feel this goes back.
Right, it's more remote in time. I feel that too. It's at least 1,000 years ago. I think it was before any colonizers came, so it wasn't the plague necessarily.
But you know, think on it. You may think differently. The stability is what's really interesting to me with the tower there.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like you had some difficulties. I have a feeling you had some slightly unethical streak about you there, Stacy. The Magician is reversed. Or I feel that maybe people did not feel you served them well enough. That you were not what they needed. Do you know what I mean? Because the tower...
I get the feeling that there was possibly controversy about you. You know, the tower, of course, has resonance to the Tower of Babel, pride, hubris, you know, and how, you know, ego can bring us all down. So
and the Magician reversed is about that.
So I'm wondering if you may have been the kind of person who was religious in a certain way, advisory, magical, shamanistic, as we're saying in there. But maybe there were some things about you that others didn't like or appreciate. Maybe they were, you know, flaws of character. Maybe, you know, you managed to do a few things for yourself that weren't totally as, you know, you took some advantages for yourself. You weren't a bad person necessarily, but maybe you were a little bit guided by your own sensual instincts. Like maybe you just loved your sensuality in terms of pleasure, not necessarily pleasure with humans, but all sorts of pleasures.
And I feel with this catastrophe, it's possible. To me, I think it's possible you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You were trying to warn people and protect yourself, but you were unable to do so.
And it's probably because you no longer held enough favor, you know, it wasn't exactly like, but maybe you were the shaman who called fox or something. Cried fox.
The sky is falling. You tried, but apparently people didn't listen. And, you know, ultimately, I think you were affected by this tragedy too and passed away. So, and I don't know why, but I do feel it was, you know, looking at that card and just sensing some things here.
This one?
Yes, that one and this one. I feel
they go hand in hand.
And the
Don't
tower,
you feel that way? Yeah.
I feel that it was I might have been an earthquake.
Yeah. So I even wonder too if maybe you were somebody that had, you know, they know that a lot of the people, the folks that lived in Central America also knew astronomy too. So maybe, you know, there were just different things you knew about the stars and could figure out, you know, the likelihood of earthquakes or certain disasters.
It could have been a volcano. I would not rule that out either, being in South America. I would not rule that out. There is a card that's fire, but I think when they talk about catastrophe, volcano definitely fits. So, you know, go with your gut. You know, absolutely explore it. You know, we encourage people to do that. And that's what we have.
So that's what we had, Stacy, and we're having fun doing this pop-up, but we're so crazy we're going to actually come back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock and do another one. Who's Your Monster, Baby? A 1-hour live pop-up with 1 card per person asking that terrifying question. It's basically in the spirit of fun and Halloween. It's about who is that potential perfect monster mate.
Jenna, you are up.
All right,
so
Jenna, it's your turn. So we're going to do
now.
your past life reading. Thank you, Gina. That was really a cool one. I hope you liked it, Stacy.
Okay, and there's actually even going to be a happy hour tomorrow morning because...
Oh, yeah, happy hour tomorrow morning.
We missed last week, and I know people need to be happy.
And I don't know where my happy hour promo is, so I guess I don't have it here. Oh, well.
Oh, that's okay.
But happy hour is our 1-hour pop-up with a positive message from Spirit or the Divine.
Mr. O, let's take a look at the culture. Wait, you should do this first.
That's very sweet. Thank you, Stacy.
Aw, thank you, Stacy.
Okay, Jenna in the stars, we are reading you for your past life now. So this is the environment, right?
The culture.
The culture.
I have this right here for you. Lapis,
Okay.
blue.
Well, earlier when I said something about environment, oh, never mind.
Yeah, I know. You said
Never
time,
mind.
actually. It's okay. Oh, Jenna, feel anything for the Celtic culture?
Yeah. Jenna, you look like you were, hi, Cara. You look like you were in the Celtic culture of some sort. And, of course, that could be a range of years, too, hundreds of years or more. So
All
we
right.
have Cara Lee. Thank you for joining us.
Mr. O?
Happy Halloween weekend. Okay, and so this is the environment.
Yes.
So we're...
Green.
Green. And you lived in a town. You
Aw.
lived in a little town somewhere in the Celtic culture.
So do you think, well, I'm not going to say yet. I'm wondering. I'm already getting a time issue thing.
Is it mine?
It is. Just because they're right by me here, I grab them.
We will do that for you, Patton, and you can check it out tomorrow or later.
Yeah, Patton, we'll definitely do it. And I think we'll stop the readings with Cara because that's probably all we'll be able to fit in today.
Best wishes for, your loved one, your relative there. I hope everything works out.
Me
and
too,
I will light a
Patton.
candle tonight later.
Sorry to hear that.
We love you. You know that.
Jenna, your occupation was?
Health. So maybe you were a natural healer. Maybe you were actually somebody who was learned in the arts of medicine. Maybe you knew herbology, or maybe you knew other things about medicine or health.
Do I gotta pick the demise again?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
How do we tip? I'll tell you how to tip in a minute. And I would appreciate that.
Hi,
Okay,
Mr.
Jenna, this is how
O.
you passed on.
Jenna, I'll try to be gentle. No guarantees. Oh dear!
Leave it to her. Fire. Fire, I think you should burn.
I'm sorry, Jenna. That's kind of traumatic. So let's take a look at this. Let me have the tarot, or are you picking one this time?
I'm going to do that in just a moment.
Okay, you're going to show Stacy how to tip?
Yes, I am. I'm just going to give you the link for that. It's our Streamlabs one. A fire.
Okay, it's posted, Stacy.
I hope that works. Let me know. And thank you. I appreciate that.
Much appreciated. Thank you much. All right, so the culture, the environment, we got everything. We need that. Let's roll,
okay.
Mr. O. Stall us not.
Mr. O is rolling. So, what kind of person were you? Were you a gendered person of some sort, or what? Page of Swords.
Oh, interesting. You were younger.
You were younger.
You might have died young in this life. I'm not going to say real young, because you obviously were in healthcare, so I feel that you couldn't have been like a teenager, but you were probably in early adulthood.
It's hard to know exactly if you were male or female. I get the feeling you could have been either. I'm not sure.
So before we go further, Jenna, you could pick two of these positions: the culture, the environment, the occupation, the theme, your termination, and we could throw some tarot cards to give you a little more information.
So yes, just...
And once we do that, then we'll go over the whole thing and put it together. And if you just want one of those illuminated, that's fine. Just love to give people options.
What do you need to know more about? How?
Occupation. Okay.
All right. So we said the occupation was health related. Let's see what we can clarify there. How interesting, because you have the Wheel of Fortune reversed and you have the Moon upright.
I see that one. Wow.
That's the wheel, right?
It's the world.
The world. I'm sorry.
So.
I'm sorry. Well, it
That's
looks
all
like a
right.
wheel to me. Okay. Well, I do feel that there was maybe something more astute about you diagnostically. Like, I think you had the ability to discern what people's health problems were. That was what fascinated, that brought you in, that trying to figure out the mystery behind why certain people were ill in certain ways.
I think you were a Celtic shamanic healer. I mean, look at that. We have the moon here.
The
and
moon.
I feel like, you
Yeah.
know, you didn't... Sometimes things didn't always work out for you. You weren't always as successful, or your success came towards the end of your young life. I think it came a little bit later for you. You weren't that successful right away, but you dabbled with, I feel, you know, healing through psychic means, psychic type healing, or prayer through prayer.
I get a slightly different slant. I agree with her. I
Okay.
think that's where you were. You were some sort of Celtic mystic healer type person. And you were highly drawn to this because you just felt there was a reason why. Maybe you lived in an era where a lot of people died young or unnaturally, you know, it could be a plague time, whatever. And I'm thinking that was the motivation, that world reverse, saying you really felt there was so much wrong with your world. You wanted to try really hard to protect it, to heal it. So it was a motivation. Whether or not you actually got there is not totally clear for us to see.
I feel it was mystic. I feel it was more mystic, but I do think that there probably was maybe a little bit of a crossover.
Well, I think you knew healing modalities. I think you knew how to work with herbs or how to work with anything that most people would heal with, but I think it was a strong sense of psychic, mystical. You were able to feel what was wrong with people. You could sense it, or you had other ways of determining that. Maybe you threw some stones or some bones, as they say. You threw the bones, rolled the bones, and that could tell you what was wrong with people. You were a healer of some sort, but you probably were young and very gifted, and maybe, you know, your time was short.
Well, I could think of two scenarios here, but I don't feel that this was a death necessarily caused by anybody, say, for example, burning you at the stake.
No, it doesn't feel like that.
It doesn't feel like that to me. I feel like, you know, back in way back times, which I do feel this goes back quite a ways too. I don't think it's super ancient, but I don't think it's modern. It's pre-modern.
Yeah.
And I feel that it was a small community town. And, you know, depending on how homes were made back then, out of straw, hay, whatever, you know, if a fire came along, it could be pretty devastating. And that's what I feel. I feel it was an accidental fire that got you. So nothing traumatic otherwise there, I feel. But you died kind of young. I would say you probably died by your late 20s.
Yes, that's what I feel too.
Yeah. So I don't know. So if you have any issues with fire, that could be why. And if you're interested in health and healing, that could be why too.
Yeah.
Why am I pulling these together? I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't ask.
All
Okay.
right.
So That's your reading, Jenna. Good luck with that.
Well, thank you for that.
I hope you enjoyed that, I guess. Hey, Fiber Magic, you are up. Are you ready? Want to try it?
And we are delighted to have you. I hope you're still here. And thank you so much for letting us share TFT on your page.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, the support. And we've got something of yours we're giving away
well, you
next
know,
month.
we bought your wonderful book, and we are going to give it away sometime next month during the Thanksgiving season. I don't have it here, so if you want to just mention the title again, it's Fiber Magic.
I think it's just called Fiber Magic.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let's do our reading for Fiber.
All right, so
I do this,
I think
right?
you go
Yeah.
first, yes.
Okay, so the first set will determine the culture that you lived in. And of course, I don't know that we said this, but people like Banshee and me tend to believe that most of us have lived a number of past lives. So it's not like you just had one past life and now you're here. So this is a past life. It may not be the most important one, but it's probably not the least important one.
I just feel I've been here before and before and before and before. I'm an old soul. Hey. I was just talking about Rome today. But actually, Romans in Britain, actually, was what I was talking about.
So although it says Rome, it doesn't mean necessarily it was classical Rome.
Yeah, let's see what we get to go with that.
Right.
So let's see what the environment was. That might give us a clue. We've got no aliens yet. I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything, right?
And wherever time period in Rome you were, somewhere in a more pastoral setting, fields. So you may have worked in the fields or you lived out there. Oh, okay. How interesting. You know, I tend to believe sometimes that in reincarnation that we may be born in similar groups of heritage or situation. So that's very interesting. Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it. And even if not, we love you just the same.
Take care. Yeah, I didn't see the thing go off, but, you know,
Oops.
it works and it doesn't. Oh, no.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go off the little bell thing, and sometimes it does. So, just kind of funny.
So, I think... Oh, this one doesn't want to come to me. Oh, look. Perfect fit.
Agriculture. So this was more of the profession or occupation was actually agriculture. So that more times ties in with the idea of living in a more field or meadows, you know, environment. What's next?
Is that the red one we just grabbed? No.
No, you're
Okay.
doing okay.
All right, good.
Love you.
I just can't believe I'm picking the demise again. How did that happen? Why aren't you picking the demise?
Ah, I love the name Minerva.
Always picking the demise. Don't get it.
I know, I'm the deaf person.
I know, Scorpio.
And the theme of your life was about justice and injustice, about either fateful things that happened to you that were good or injustice that happened to you.
Oh boy, I
not
have a
good.
feeling about this. So, Mr. O, I have to pick the demise.
Thank you, Jenna.
Oh, you're welcome, Jenna.
Okay, Fiber, are you ready for this one?
Nobody's ready for this one. Oh, well, that's interesting because it's the fields.
Maybe it was really a swamp.
Well, you still could have drowned, you know. There could be a river, a creek running through. There could have been, you know, a flood. There could have been some heavy rains.
You
It's hard
drank
to say.
contaminated water.
You drank contaminated water. You know, you got to think of all the different ways you could have passed from water. So that is interesting. I have a feeling here, but I think we're going to pick what kind of person you were, male or female. That might give us a clue to what you were doing. It might not.
Flood. Floods happen.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I figured some type of flood. I'm going to cut him.
Yeah, that seems to be the most likely. Usually any of these systems, you know, in even the more remote periods, they just had really good water systems in Rome. I mean, their aqueducts are still working today. So
I believe you
King
lived to
of
an
Swords.
older age. It says here king, but I'm not going to necessarily take stock in that. I don't know. I have a feeling. I wonder which way Mr. O is going to go. Well, first off, before we go on, Fiber, what would you like a little more information on? The culture, the environment, the occupation, the theme, or the termination?
And I do feel as a mature man, I don't know that the king means that you were a king.
Hey, thank you, JH. I'm not sure we can read for you or not. We will see what we can do, but we're running kind of tight here.
So I did say I felt you were a mature person probably
theme.
when you passed, but I don't necessarily know you were a king.
Right. I want to see this, too. This might help. The theme.
Theme, yes.
And why am I doing this? The cards.
Cards.
All right. I'm going to take one from the top and one from the bottom. And I can't shuffle today. What is wrong with me? Sunny, our cat is here. Do you want to give us Sunny
I just
Cam?
was thinking of him. Boy, we're so in tune sometimes. I was like, let's show the little sun man again. One of our three cats, they're all siblings, but he's the one who always crashes the set.
He's the star of the show. He's the star.
The sleepy star.
Okay. I'm going to turn that over.
The theme. A reverse Ten of Swords. And a reversed King of Pentacles.
Well, I wonder if this isn't alluding to a, with justice and injustice, that maybe you were involved with the farming, or with producing something with the crops. I have a feeling it was farming and it was produce, and you had problems with money, with accounting, with money. Perhaps there were tax collectors or something, and you felt you were being constantly unjustly treated. Maybe it was kind of a hand-to-mouth existence because you weren't getting a fair shake or a fair deal on your crops.
I think you were the king of your own field or your own farm.
Yeah, I am thinking so too now.
I think you were in charge of your own work, and I think that you probably came up with oppositions of various sorts, but you always managed to kind of defeat them to some degree, Ten of Swords, but it was usually like, a little bit like of a struggle. It was definitely a struggle.
Yeah.
And that in principle, I think there was one particular enemy or person. Maybe it was like the new regime that was trying to gather up all the land, and so people wanted to access your land somehow.
Oh, good point.
So I sort of feel these were the things that happened. I don't know that those contribute exactly to your death, because it was more about the theme, of course.
I feel you had to fight for your land. I should have saw that connection right away with the King of Pentacles and Earth. I do feel like maybe that's what it was, and there was a justice-injustice.
I have to leave you because she's more in tune with me, Gina.
Why? Oh, keep saying we're thinking. Aw, hey.
Isn't it horrible thinking my bizarre thoughts? Oh, wait, that's not what you meant.
Inside Mr. O's brain. Be careful. You don't want to go too deep there. I'm just telling you.
But no, Fiber, the theme seems to be that there was this whole issue about you battling for what was yours, what was fair, and you may have come out ahead, but it was really a struggle. It may have been taking up a big portion of your life, and then you drowned.
So, I feel like, and you wonder sometimes, was it deliberate because somebody wanted your land? It does not say that.
No.
But I have to wonder. However, somebody was definitely constantly wanting to get your land or get money off of you for the land. And it was a struggle. You did not, I don't feel this was an easy life either, unfortunately.
Bingo. I kind of like that. Yep. There you go. Because, right, genders are not hard and fast for us when we see these things. This is definitely an older person who was, in charge of their stuff. So that could be male or female. You're right.
Yeah.
You probably had that feeling, eh?
So that's what we had for you. But it's interesting we got that Rome connection, too.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I like that.
Awesome. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Hey, Jadzia, you are up. And hey, Carolee, welcome. All right, let's try to roll. We'll get moving. We are on Jadzia. So let's see. I'm first.
I'll shuffle some, and you can shuffle some, right?
I picked this time, or did you pick this
time? I think I did, yeah. So I should do those for you, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed it.
Appreciate that.
These are fun, but also I feel like they are they can resonate, and we have a variety of other types of past life readings we do. Past life reading we did with just the tarot was very popular at our public event we just did.
Now this, Jadzia, is supposed to be the kind of culture you lived in one of your past lives.
It's the Dark Ages again. Dark
So
Ages
it says it's
up.
a Dark Ages kind of culture, and we could expand that to say that maybe a number of cultures, not just European ones, had a Dark Ages, had a time, but I think it was mostly European. They always say that, India or other places didn't really have this Dark Ages like Europe did. And this is the environment, the kind of land or terrain you were on, possibly. And it says riverine. So you were probably living near a river or some similar type of water system.
Yeah, like a water system. Channels, I think, could be.
Canals.
Here you go, Mr. O.
Okay, and then this is the theme.
This is the occupation, Mr.
Whoops, the
O.
occupation. Oh, the deck is called Awakening Far Memory.
I would show the box. I believe you can still find it places. Awakening Far Memory. And you can work with them alone, but we like to try to combine them with the tarot.
Gives us a little clarification on some things. And Banshee developed this idea all on her own.
Well, obviously with the help of the cards.
So this is your occupation.
Well, this one wants to come. Whoa, what is this? It should be no surprise to me in a spiritual community that we keep getting.
Okay, yeah, right, because we're all pretty much seekers here. So you too, Jadzia, had a occupation or vocation that brought you into the more religious or spiritual side of things. You may have worked, in some sort of temple or church or something like that. Or been there.
I am not picking the domain. Oh, wait, we're on the other one, right? That was occupation. Go ahead.
No, you want me to pick that, so...
No, yeah, correct.
So, yes. I picked this one, right?
I picked this one. And you picked this one.
Oh, okay.
Scorpio.
I was just trying to trick you.
I don't want to always
I want
be
you
the
to be
death
the
bringer.
harbinger. You're a prettier harbinger than me.
See, that one wants me. Boy, really, there are more cards in the deck than this.
Yeah, we just keep getting the same ones. But the theme of your life was about stability, instability. So it may have been reflective of the time or era or the situation, but there were things that were questionable one way or the other with that.
Well, let's face it, if it was the Dark Ages, there was a lot of turmoil.
Sure.
So I can see why that would be there.
So how did your life end up? What happened?
And it's in the hands of the Scorpio. All right.
That one grabbed for me too.
Oh no.
Water again.
Water again. Well, but Riverine.
Oh,
It makes
right.
perfect sense.
I thought this kind of almost jumped into my hand. And I know you were saying that about,
You
fear
were-
of water.
Fear of water. Maybe this is where it comes from.
Maybe this is where it comes from. I have a past life feeling too that I was suffocated or I died from strangulation or drowning. And I do have that fear myself that I feel like it's maybe past
And
life
didn't
related.
I pick it up when we did that past life reading that one time?
Yeah.
It freaked you out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to see who you were, actually. Male or female or general circumstance.
Yeah, it's interesting how that came up. So right now, it looks like probably it could be a flood again, but it could also be a boating accident.
There's another
Just because
thought.
you were working in religious thing, maybe you were traveling to another community by water and there was an accident.
Oops.
There it is. We got another Queen of Cups. Very watery card as well. So you could have been a water sign in this life as well. But also here is somebody who's very in touch with, with their intuition and with their, emotions. You were very emotional. You're very intuition. You're probably very empathic.
Yes, it sounds like you were more likely female than not, which would be interesting because you seem to have a religious focus in your life. So you may have been somebody that was just really dedicated to religious service in certain ways, and maybe, you had a position within a religious community.
Well, you know what? As a woman, I wonder here, though, too, this is the first time I'm going to hazard to say that I can't help but wonder if this wasn't a witch trial.
Why?
Because of the water, because they drowned a lot of
dunking,
witches.
the dunking thing and stuff like that.
And because of the stability, instability, I just feel like that either there could have been, I feel two things here about the death, that either you were traveling somewhere and it was an accident, but I also feel here that it's possible that, you might have been caught up in a witch hunt.
Yeah, I get the feeling about that. So to clarify, we can take any of these positions and throw two more cards on them just to give a feel. So culture, environment, vocation, theme, or ending. We can tell you a little bit more if you're interested.
Hey Mila, we got you. Hi. We're doing past life readings tonight. And honestly, we're pretty tight for time, but we'll try to get... Okay, do you want us to just pick one, or do you have one in particular? Do you want to know about your demise more? Do you want to know about the stability, instability, the culture?
And I just want to acknowledge, again, Mr. Maurice and Stacy's tips. Very appreciated. Thank you so much, guys.
The cards, please. The culture.
All right.
Yeah, you know what? We might just stick to one of these categories now. We've got so many people.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, whoops.
The Four of Wands.
This is to go with the culture.
It's really interesting because
the Four of Wands.
the Four of Wands kind of goes with the stability aspect of the instability card there. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. So I wonder if there wasn't a little bit of warfare going on between factions of people. There just seems to be a lot of instability in the environment. So maybe it wasn't a witch burning per se, but, there was a lot of instability surrounding this culture that you were in.
Well, as we mentioned to Gina and others perhaps, the Dark Ages wasn't just about witch trials. There were other heresies. The overall tenor would just be that there was a lot of religious authoritarianism trying to insinuate itself or control almost all aspects of life. And so what we see here maybe is that this was about the culture, right?
Yeah, and I feel there was an attack on this culture.
Well,
the foundation of this city or culture.
I guess so too, but from a cultural point of view, I sort of get the feeling that with medieval times, their pleasure was where you found it. They had simple pleasures, and so harvest time was like, they celebrated a lot of hard work that they did. And that's also represented in this one too, the idea really that there are hardships and that sometimes not everybody shares equally or not everybody can share equally. So I think this causes some of that instability.
The instability. People wanted what you had, what your culture had. And so I feel like this might be early Dark Ages stuff now. And I think that I don't know why, but I'm not sure it's European.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be European necessarily. It could be further Eastern Asian areas. When the Roman Empire collapsed, its total collapse really took hundreds of years maybe to filter throughout all of their holdings. I mean, they had holdings and conquerings all the way into India, Vietnam even. And so some of those areas, their Dark Ages maybe came later. This could really be about a different period of time, but it's really about the same thing, the instability caused by so many systems collapsing.
So I think ultimately you did okay with the religious work that you did. You were accepted by your people, and I don't think you were necessarily, this water death had anything to do with your religion anymore. I don't think so.
Okay.
Personally, I think it might be more drowning, and it might have actually been because you were fleeing a conflict.
Right.
That's really the
I don't feel that as strongly as her, but I got that feeling a little bit too, that it's not really about the medieval kind of thing. It just could have been oppressions between different nations or different countries, because all of that was a whole era of reconquering what had happened from, hundreds or thousands of years earlier.
Hey, Mr. Maurice, you are up, and then we have Patton, I don't know if I wrote it right, J. Lee, I have JH, and then Carol Lee, and then Mila.
All right.
And that's where we stop it.
Yeah, no more after Mila. So.
We aren't going to be able to fit anybody else in, sorry.
Yes, actually, time is short.
You're from Europe, but you know what? We could be from anywhere in our past lives.
It's true.
You may not feel, an affinity there, but there may be something there. All right, so let's see. Let's do Mr. Maurice and see what we get.
All righty. Thank you. Okay,
hey,
so
you are welcome.
Do I pull first or you? I don't remember.
I think it's you.
Go ahead. Okay, so we are going to read the past life for Mr. Maurice.
Let's see what culture.
And Mr. Maurice, we're putting
Speaking of Asia,
we're putting you somewhere in an Asian area, a culture that's Asian. We don't know exactly when that is yet, but you were in a culture that was Chinese, Japanese, Asian. This is just one of your past lives, of course.
Okay.
This is the environment. So it was marine. So you may have lived near a big city that did marine stuff. You may have lived on a ship.
You may have been involved in trade. Let's see what we get here. Oh, you do that. Is that right? Yeah, you put that. Maybe not.
This is your vocation or job, and it is in agriculture.
All right, it's possible. It's possible, even though we've got.
It could be
Marie
saying
there.
too, maybe that this was an agricultural center that had exporting things that they, packed up, processed things, and then exported them.
Looks like you're going to pick the death again. Oh, I am. Dang it. That's okay. It is my turn.
So this is the theme of your life. Abundance, penury.
Oh, wow.
So there were good times or bad times. Maybe there were a little bit of both, or maybe it was more one than the other. And then finally, how did you pass this mortal coil?
I get to play the Grim Reaper. I suppose as a banshee, I shouldn't quibble about this, eh?
Oh, attack.
Uh-oh.
Attack. So something violent ended your life. It was probably an altercation with a person or persons. So now we're going to find out your gender and possible circumstance.
Right. Not a single quirk card yet. There we go. All right. Well, it's the Queen of Wands, so it doesn't have to be a woman, but it's the Queen of Wands. What emulates from the Queen of Wands? You are a very magnetic personality. And I feel like you lived to probably bordering on middle age.
Right. If you weren't a leader per se, you were definitely a spokesperson. You were the kind of person who would be able to talk to people and to explain things to people. So that means you could have been a teacher. You could have possibly been maybe somewhere else religiously, although we're seeing your life being in agriculture.
Yes, and I sense that you sold your products and that maybe some of them were shipped out to merchant or sold to merchants.
Because you were in that kind of environment.
Right. And that, there were times of plenty. I guess it depended on how well the crops did and also, the kind of deals you could barter for.
My overall sense is you were mostly okay. There was mostly abundance. I think I get that from the Queen of Wands.
Yes.
So that you were a successful farmer or a person who managed farms or managed agricultural systems. You probably might have been the person that arranged for them to be shipped. So you were a merchant, I guess, that was involved in agriculture.
A time frame there?
The time frame to me, I'm not really clear. I'd say that it was probably pre-industrial, but I don't think it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. So I'm thinking it was maybe between 1,000 and 500 years ago, or 1,000 and 200, 300 years ago.
And I feel like you probably were robbed. That attack was probably a robbery. But if you want, Mr. Maurice, if you want one of these areas for us to throw some tarot cards on it to give you a little more information on either the culture, the environment, the occupation, the theme, or the way you die.
So let us know and we will.
Let us know.
And I guess I'll pull those?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, is there anyone in particular?
Or we can pick if you want.
We'll pick if you want.
Just one of those.
We could pick it and see what it relates to.
There is that. Let's give him one more moment.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. What do you think? I'd say the theme. Or
I was going to say the theme or the, let's do the theme.
okay. So this is the theme of your life. We know that it had to do with abundance. Or,
Oh my goodness. It's almost as if you...
I know. How interesting.
Yeah.
How interesting, because of course you get one that matches up with the theme. The Six of Pentacles talks
About give and take.
give and
And
take.
it sounds like bartering, trading.
Yeah, so it kind of goes along with those ideas we
Yeah.
had. You also have the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups suggests that you dreamt big. You had big plans, and your plans may have been so big that you weren't always able to put all of them into motion. But that was really a big part of the theme of your life, because you saw potentials. And you really thought you needed to figure out how to expand those potentials. And that meant dreaming bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right, and you know how we said it was either feast or famine, there were some bad times? That's kind of evident by that Six of Pentacles as well. Sometimes money was flowing to you, sometimes you were giving out more money than, you really could afford. So it kind of went both ways. There was a bit of an up and down with this.
So to sum it up, you probably lived in Asia, Japan, or China, maybe near the coast. You probably managed agricultural systems, or were the arranging person to export them because you lived in that area.
Right.
And you were pretty profitable and magnetic personality, savvy personality, but maybe somebody decided to rob you or mess with you in
That's
that way.
why I feel it was a random attack. They knew you
It
had
seems random.
money, and they robbed you, and unfortunately it caused your demise.
So that's what we had, Mr. Maurice.
Sorry about that. Bad note there. But that's the life we see this time around. Hey, Patton, I know you probably have left us, so we're going to do a reading quick for you. And everybody keep Patton's family member in their thoughts who has COVID. All right, Patton. Oh, that back. I think you give me this first, I think.
right.
I don't know. I just did it.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's for our friend Patton.
Another Roman.
Another
When in
Roman.
Rome. Oh, you were supposed to do that.
Oh, was I?
Yeah. Oh, did I pick Rome? Yeah.
Thank you for your donation, too. You're very welcome.
Well, selling seashells by the seashore.
So Patton lived near the coastal areas of Rome. Did I just do the last one here?
I thought I pulled seashore.
Okay.
Did I not?
I don't remember.
Okay, we're lost.
We're lost. Sometimes we're found.
I think you're right.
I don't know what happens here.
It's
but
a
I guess
popular theme today. This is really funny. Sometimes we're all over the map with locations and things, and this time
Farmers gotta be
everybody's
farming.
doing the same things.
we must have been in the same tribe, and we just keep getting rebirth together, I think.
So are you picking this one now? I thought.
I don't know. Does it really make that much of a difference?
No, you want me to be the dead person again, though, and I did do that last time. That's why I wonder.
Then I'll do it this time
Nope,
again. So
You
that's
will
fine.
not.
Betrayal.
Oh my goodness, stab in the back. It's like a 10 of swords with 9 swords missing.
That's the theme of your life. So this suggests a life where, a lot of people just were really, it sounds like a karmic bad life. You were probably atoning for something. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. That could mean a number of things, and I'm going to make you pick the death, Mr. O. Pick it.
Again, fire. So we keep picking the same cards again. I don't know what's
Well,
up with that.
we're picking them randomly, so I don't know what else we can
Okay,
do.
Pat, you lived near the seashore in Rome. You were probably a farmer or you worked in the fields.
You were involved with agriculture. I don't know what part of agriculture.
And I wonder if the theme plays into the end, like maybe the betrayal of somebody resulted in, your demise by fire somehow.
Oh, Patton. I feel you might have been a scoundrel in this life, but you know what? We didn't pick the person.
That's true. Let's do
And
it.
is that yours or mine?
No, you go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I remember I did it lengthily last time. I couldn't find one. So I'm doing it again. All right. I'm going to hand the cards to you next. I'm sorry, Sonny, but you don't give me any room to shuffle, which is why I can't shuffle today. There. Of the Knight of Swords, Patton. This plays right into my thinking, too. I think you were young. I think you were probably no older than mid to late 20s when you passed from this life. I feel that you might have lived in an... you did something with agriculture, definitely, or with the earth. And you didn't, hold on, I'm losing my place here. You obviously were in Rome. The environment was the seashore. So I feel like, again, there might be this working with a trading component here where you were selling things, that might have been being shipped out. Unfortunately, though, I really feel with this theme being betrayal, I kind of feel it was you. I kind of feel like maybe you were making some underhanded deals here and that you paid for it. You paid for it by, it's possible that people tried to burn your fields, burn your crops, and ultimately you got caught up in the fire.
When you pulled this card, wasn't it reversed?
Was it?
I thought it was, and I thought you turned it
Oh,
around.
I guess I did it.
And
I didn't
so
mean
that
to.
adds that
well,
emphasis.
that's why I said that.
That adds that emphasis to me that you were probably on the make in some way. Maybe you were a hustler. You realized that life, was what you could make of it, and that you may have lived in an era where there wasn't a lot of firm law and order, so people were kind of in charge of themselves, and people could get away with certain things. And maybe you were a person that tried to get away with something, but it didn't quite work out finally in the end.
I almost feel like it's possible that this happened after Roman Empire.
Yeah, I think it's post. I think it is more in those post ages where it was pretty much the precursor to the Dark Ages, where everything was collapsed, and so people had to ferret out their lives.
So, Patton, why don't we do the theme for you, too? I think we should illuminate on that. Why don't you pick the cards this time for that? Yeah, we're going to be hitting overtime soon, so we're going to keep rolling. Yeah, I know.
No, you don't.
I do.
That's one. I guess it's an additional one. So this was the top card, the Eight of Cups upright. This was the bottom card, the Seven of Wands reverse. But this one fell out, and I feel like it needs to be there too. This was about theme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like there were things about your life that always made you move ahead towards something else. You left things behind because maybe you felt that once it had gotten to a certain point, it was no longer worth fighting for. But besides that, though, you were basically a person who was a con person. You were able to really attract people and really convince them to go along with you. So you were used to really being able to work with people to get them to do what you want. But sometimes circumstances meant that you just had to move on.
Well, you can keep that Queen of Wands out of my mix here, but I will say that the Queen of Wands, yes, I like what he said about that, so let's leave that. The Seven of Wands and the Eight of Cups. I feel as though you had to always be on your feet, moving to the next scam. You know, you were moving on because it was hard for you to maintain your composure, your ground, because people were catching on to you. So you would go on to the next and on to the next and on to the next. And finally, it all just started to catch up with you. And thus the bad demise. That's
All right,
what I feel.
So check it out.
Hey, Kara. Okay, are you here, Kara? Do you want a reading? Let's see if Kara answers, and if not, we'll move on to JH.
I'll shuffle these up a little bit.
There you are. Okay, we gotcha.
Do I do those this time?
You do. Which one is it?
Alien.
No.
Rome. When in
We have
Rome.
a lot of Romans here today. This is really peculiar. I even shut my eyes this time and I thought, I haven't picked one from the top or the bottom of the pile. I'll do that this time. And that's what we got. Okay, so it's just fate. Maybe some of you knew each other in Rome.
I know. I mean, there's
wondering.
like so many cards to pick from, and we keep getting the same ones over and over. That's disgusting.
Okay, am I picking a second time? All
Yes, you
right,
are.
I guess I am.
Well, you should have asked for them.
I think you were there with Patton.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Patton, but it seems like this might have been.
That's funny. Well, let's see you pull a different card.
The funny thing about Rome or Roman is that Italy is literally almost all, coastline.
That's true. That's true. So seashore.
Amelia would tell us we're right. Okay, so what was your job?
Uh-oh.
Courtesan. We'll just leave it at that.
I got Rome in this.
You want me to
lifetime.
pick do this one for you so that I pick the death.
Okay, fine. I wanted
wanna
you to
pick
do two in a row, but that's okay.
You don't want to pick death again.
Yeah, I don't want to pick death again, Scorpio. Mr. O.
We're not on you yet, Amelia.
We
Oh, in the present, of course.
And we did Mila already. No, Mila's at the end, right?
I know. I just misinterpreted
Whoops,
her
I
comment.
forgot. Yeah, that's
I
right.
misinterpreted her comment, that's all.
Got it.
Abundance, penury. That's the theme of the life.
That's the theme of a number of lives, but of course, it was rough back then. Feast or famine sometimes.
Okay, who thinks that Kara's going to die the same way everybody else is dying in their
Well,
lives?
we had a lot of different deaths here.
That's
we did
true.
Have the most
That was
diversity
more
here.
diverse than other situations. Disease.
And look, there's another new one.
Disease.
So you died of more natural causes than anybody else
Courtesan disease. Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a feeling about this. All right, let's see who you were, whether you were male courtesan or female.
How interesting.
I'm getting a more ancient bend with this one, too. Like, this one might go back. What do you think?
You mean more remote times?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay. So we have drawn the King of Cups. you were probably most likely an older male, maybe at least middle-aged and beyond. You
were very much into the emotional realm.
This sort of fits with the courtesan.
It fits with the courtesan, absolutely. You were into
There's a sensuality
and pleasure. And so it seems to me like, a lot of people who might have been in this profession were slaves and things that were people that were enslaved,
could be, depending on the era.
But I don't sense that here with this. And so I almost wonder, Kara, if you actually led
if you look up the actual definition of courtesan, they're more often attached to courts, i.e. they were basically enhanced sex workers of a sort. They were attached to court. They might have had positions in court to dispense with their favors for visiting dignitaries, diplomats.
But I feel you ruled the roost there of the courtesans in the palace or whatever.
Right. You were probably the chief courtesan in this period. But, it was possibly a remote period where maybe they could not necessarily inoculate everybody from all the various things that happened.
Diseases. It could have been a sexual disease that got you, I'm just going to say, because of your profession. And there was a lot of that back in the ancient times.
Well, they know that some things people can live with them, but then when they're old or later in life, that's when the deficits really start to show up in terms of
that's what I see.
Brain. So it may be that although you had this disease, it's not exactly what you died of. You might have lived a reasonably long life by those standards, but you had that affliction and it may have contributed to that.
Well, I feel that, that disease probably got you in the end.
That's the spirit, Kara.
Ancient pimp.
A cool ancient pimp.
Cool ancient pimp. But, the thing is that I feel that you were able to live a longer life. The disease did finally, you probably did succumb to some sexual disease as you got older.
You had a position because you were probably attached to some aristocracy of some sort.
So I think you had a fairly decent life living in some palatial, environment.
Okay, so now we can give you a little more illumination on one of these. Which would you like it to be? It could either be the culture, the environment, the vocation, the theme, or the ending. So just let us know if you want one, or if you want us to just go ahead and
pick one.
And we will pull 2 additional cards and see what that tells us.
Theme.
Alrighty.
All right.
Top card and bottom card. Oh Knight of Cups. And
the Wheel of Fortune.
The reverse Wheel of Fortune.
The wheel. So I feel like there were times of plenty and there were times of not. And let's just say, when you were well thought of for what you do, because va-va-voom, it's the Knight of Cups here, things went well. But sometimes things did not go so well. Fate turned against you, and, that caused some issues and problems.
I don't know why, but I feel that maybe it's more likely you were a male courtesan of some sort.
I think so.
I'm feeling that it was the Roman era. They had a different sense of morality or style or whatever. They thought differently about that.
I felt that right away.
And so I'm thinking that in terms of the theme, when you were a younger man, a younger person, you were totally tits for that time era. You were the most requested courtesan or the person that they liked to be with. But it was kind of bad luck in a way, because this is possibly how you began exposing yourself to some of the things that weakened your life or weakened your immunity and contributed towards your end. So even though you probably died as a much revered and enamored older, male prostitute or whatever we want to call that, you reaped the ravages by living that lifestyle.
So that's what we have for you, Kara. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks
it was
for
certainly
stopping
kind of
in.
like almost epic. It could be like fan fiction or a movie or something.
So we're on JH. And then Mila.
All right. Here you go.
Thank you. And let's see if we get a different environment. Wouldn't it be fun to get an alien?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we have.
There's actually an alien hiding in here. All right.
Okay, JH, we're going to pull for you.
Do you go first this time? I think you will.
Yes, I will. As in pulling them? Mm-hmm. Okay. So this will be the culture you lived in, JH. And a repeat, but not the common repeat. We're showing you in Central America somewhere.
Marine.
And you lived in a marine environment, so possibly near the ocean or near water.
Having a feeling about this one. Didn't I just pick that, or did you?
Good night, Fiber. Thanks again for everything.
Hey, take care. Have a good night.
I'll definitely let you know when we're doing that raffle, just in case you're curious about how that works.
A trader.
Okay, so it kind of goes along with the marine environment. So that was your occupation, that you were probably trading things.
Ouch.
Starvation.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that's the theme.
That's the theme. That's the theme? We picked
No,
the
we
wrong
skipped
card.
the theme.
We skipped a card. Let's pick the theme. Well, that's your demise. Doesn't matter we did them out of order because it's going to be the same. Interesting. So let's see what
Who
the theme
picked
is.
that?
Hey,
I did,
Gina,
right?
take care.
Bye, Gina.
You did.
Good night. So the theme of your life was about greed or generosity. So either there was lots of money or there was lots of greed. You were either very generous or very greedy,
You were either
perhaps.
very giving or very greedy. And you died of starvation. And it's interesting to me because I wonder sometimes if you gave too much. Do you want to pick did you pick last time? I don't remember. Go ahead and pick. Let's see what kind of person we have here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sense this was a long time ago.
The Queen of Pentacles.
Huh.
So you may have been a woman. You were certainly somebody who was probably a creative personality. Maybe that went along with being the trader. Like maybe you just had innovative or ingenious ways to kind of create things or market them.
Interesting, JH. Well, yeah, you definitely had some savvy here with money and resources, I feel. So why did you starve? I think that's the big question, because it's like you said there, it's really interesting you said that. Maybe at times you were too generous and, you gave too much away. And maybe people around you were very, very demanding. Maybe the greed and generosity is playing out that way, where other people around you really kind of bled you dry. They took advantage of your good giving nature. Because the Queen of Pentacles is somebody who's very beneficent.
Right, it plays in with that, but then it sort of presents Aquarius to, a person who really emulates abundance, starving.
Well, that's why I said people
really,
took advantage of the
yeah.
good nature. Greedy people. And so being the generous person that the Queen of Pentacles is, you did too much. And it's also possible that... now, it doesn't say you were a farmer, it says you were a trader. So I feel it's possible here that, you just did not...
Either it was a business sense thing, like you didn't make good business decisions and you gave away more, you traded with less profit for yourself. That's possible. Maybe you were also connived or tricked into giving better bargains than you should have. Because I'm thinking the card was mostly about you having a generous nature.
Yes.
Because it's supported by the Queen of Pentacles, a generous personality. So it may be that being a greedy person wasn't really big in your thing there.
No, but I think you dealt with greed.
Yeah. People who were just trying to get you to give them a better deal. And you were probably kind enough to want to do that for them, but you short-circuited yourself and maybe you ended up being poor and having, harder times when you were older.
So it looks like you were a woman in this life, but it's not necessarily a guarantee. You definitely have that earthy, generous quality about you, very
well,
giving.
I would say that you could have been a man who just maybe wasn't strong enough to deal with the rough and ready traders that you were associated with. You were a kinder person. You were more of a benevolent person.
That they took advantage of.
Either way, you were somebody that somehow people felt was easy for them to ply upon. So let's move on.
So what would you like us to
illuminate
at here? Yeah.
We can illuminate any of these other main cards. The way it ended, the theme.
The culture, the environment, the occupation.
Vocation, yeah.
Would you like us to just pick one, or do you have one in mind? Environment. Okay.
Alrighty. Here we go.
Oh.
Top card. Bottom card. So the environment we said was marine, maybe by a seashore or body of water.
Yes.
And we have the Five of Pentacles reversed.
Very interesting.
And we have the Two of Swords reversed.
I feel there was...
Well, this says that maybe there was some opportunity, some movement to move out of that environment or to make a firm decision about your role in that environment. Maybe it was about what this is, the Five of Pentacles. Maybe it's kind of the idea that maybe you felt to some degree that where your ambitions lie didn't really work for the kind of area you were in. You were in a commerce sort of area, and maybe you felt you really needed to be less into commerce. Maybe this is why you weren't good with making deals with trading, because maybe you were more of the sort of person that maybe would have been better in education of some sort or more spiritual things.
I feel like what those cards are illuminating for me is that you were on the move a lot, and being that it says marine there, I feel like you journeyed on some ships. I think you were not just
up and down that coast or around those areas.
You were not just, sitting on the shore trading with merchant ships. You were actually one of the merchant marines that maybe you traveled, with your goods to other, shores, nearby shores.
To set up shop for a day or two or whatever.
Right, that's what
time.
I'm getting with the Two of Swords here. And the Five of Pentacles reversed to me indicates that, there were some rough times. You were able to come out of some rough times. So I feel like maybe, starvation is one thing. Maybe you did not die all at once from starvation, but because you had times of deprivation,
Lean.
food deprivation, very lean times, that affected your health. And ultimately, I think your body wasted because of a lack of good nutrition.
Right. You didn't have nutrition. You didn't have as good of health because maybe times were a little leaner for you.
That's kind of what I feel. It was a rough environment for you. It was not an easy life. That's what I think.
So that's what we have, JH.
I hope that sounds like some of that resonated with you. So I hope you can think about that a little bit. Feel free to look at the tape again and get some ideas from that. And Mila, you are up, and we are done. A little bit into overtime.
Yeah, a whole hour.
Well, I figured it was always supposed to be an hour and a half.
You're
show.
welcome.
I knew it would go over. All right. All right, I think I might do this one first.
So does I hold it for you?
I'll let you.
Okay.
All right, Mila, let's see where you have been.
I'm glad it resonated. I appreciate that feedback.
Shoo. Holy moly. So Rome and Central America, what's up with that?
I don't know. So we're placing you in Central America.
And I think I'm doing green. You put these on top of my sheet. Green, yes. It's really funny how
Good night, JH. Oh, you're from the UK.
out.
Well, thank you for staying up with us.
Yeah, oh my goodness, thank you.
Patton, who was in earlier, he's one
He's
of our
also a
long-standing
UKer.
fans from the UK.
Okay, Mr. O, you got to pull one of these. Pull a different one. I know you can. Oh, it's Riverine.
So you were also living near a river or water system?
Wow. That's new.
You may have been a really poor person. You may have been a beggar. You
So
may
it's
not
kind
have
of a hand-to-mouth life.
may not have had an actual occupation. And of course, there could be a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah, I pull.
You know, maybe you were disabled for some reason, or maybe the culture supported, people who did that.
Well, we can't all be kings and queens of the court, unfortunately.
That is true.
But that doesn't mean you necessarily had a bad life, just a hard one. Oh, look at that. It's almost perfect for a beggar.
Yeah. So the theme of your life was greed or generosity. And of course, that's the circumstances, If you didn't have a lot. Thank you, JH. I do hope to see you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We always love people coming back. Come back for more.
Come back tomorrow night. Or tomorrow in the morning. Of course, you might be asleep by then. Or still sleeping.
No.
Fire.
Fire. Well, okay. That's all right.
So you ended by fire somehow.
Well, there could be a lot of ways that could have occurred in Central America again, too. I like when Stacy said about the volcano. So let's pick the person. Excuse me. And excuse me, Sonny. I have to have some table space or I can't do this. Hey, I can't do this with you here. That look! He looks like he wants to chomp my head off. Both of you. All right.
Okay, so the Knight of Cups suggests that you were probably a young man, maybe no older than 30. You may have been a very compassionate person, maybe due to your circumstance, because you didn't have anything and you had to beg, and your life was waiting for the generosity of others or fearing the greed of others.
It might be good that you did live by the water because, you could always get fish or things like that from the water. But clearly you had a rough life. You were a beggar in Central America and you relied on the generosity of others. And you had to deal with a lot of people who were not that generous or that kind. And I can almost sense here one of two ways that you demised. It could have been an accidental fire. I somehow don't see this as a catastrophe in that it was like a whole community burning or a volcano, but I tend to feel like you either died accidentally in a fire or it's possible that, some people who were greedy and just didn't like to see beggars on the street burned you.
Yeah, I don't have a really clear feeling on that. I actually wondered if maybe it wasn't fire per se, but the smoke inhalation, because that's what they always say is that people normally, are trapped in fires. They die from that first.
Thanks, January girl. Ah, well, that's nice. But sorry we can't read for you today. We would have loved to, but come back to one of the other ones. We'll be doing one next month as well. So stay tuned for that.
However, you might be interested in this tomorrow night. Who's Your Monster Baby? A 1-hour live pop-up with one card, seeking to find out who your monster mate is or should be.
So I feel you wear your heart on your sleeve, though, in this life. You were very nice. There was no, you were a good person. You were a good person at heart. And, but unfortunately, your life ended young because you had to deal with some serious poverty. So, I mean, if you have some issues now of never feeling you have enough, or whatever that might play into this, you can think about how the theme or things in this life might relate to you. And what would you like us to illuminate for you? The culture, the environment, the occupation, the theme, or the termination?
Go ahead and shuffle.
I will. Good night, Kara.
Good night, Kara.
Take
Thanks
care.
for coming.
All right.
Environment. Okay. So we said that was a riverine area. So let's see what else we can tell you about that. So we pull the top card from a tarot and the bottom card. All right.
Okay, we've had this one before, but it was reversed. This is upright, the Ten of Pentacles. This is really interesting to me.
It kind of contradicts some things, but maybe.
Not necessarily. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. That's interesting too. I feel like even though you were a beggar, you may have actually had roots in this environment, or this is about the environment. So I almost feel the environment was one that was fairly wealthy, and that maybe there was some family dynasty here. So this might take this back some years.
I'm wondering if maybe this indicates that you were possibly pushed out of your family.
That's why I was going to go there.
And that's why you ended up being a beggar, because maybe the family actually was an important family, or a family of some wealth or importance in the community, but they were really all about money. They were the greedy people, and maybe as a spiritual person or a different kind of personality, they felt you didn't fit in, like you're not really one of us, and they kicked you out. And because you didn't really have their wealth to depend on, and maybe necessarily other skills or education that you might have had from being in the family, this is why you ended up that way. Whether it plays into your termination, I can't say that I see that clearly.
Here's what I see. I see with the Ten of Pentacles upright that there could have been a family inheritance coming through, and the Four of Pentacles is about somebody in the family who wanted it all. It all. You know, it's really funny because it's not saying as much about the environment as I think it's talking about the
Your
home
home
environment
environment.
you came from.
Yeah, it's really talking about that. Is
So
what I think that
now
is.
this is painting a different picture to me, that you could have been from some family of wealth, but you were forced out because somebody wanted everything to themselves. So,
Fascinating.
yeah. So that's what we have for you. Good luck. Oh, but I hope you enjoyed it. Not necessarily happy news, but you know, remember, it's a past life. It's not your present
And
life.
you know, we do feel that when we read these past lives, just as you mentioned earlier, Melia, some people feel that there is a resonation
connection.
towards what's happening now. And so I guess that's part of the reason why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we have. Anyhow, good luck with that, everybody. Do check out our Who's Your Monster Baby? And if you want an absolute positive message from us, come to happy hour tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard
Join
Time.
the hardest working couple in tarot reading.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks for coming tonight. We had fun. We hope you did too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.